Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Elevate Your Soul podcast. Today, I am interviewing a special guest named Jimi Hunt. He specializes in mental health. He is a keynote speaker, author, and founder of Live More Awesome, and he's also known for being the builder of the world's biggest water slide. Jimi Hunt and I are going to talk about mental health today and ways to help you overcome and deal with stress to live a life with less depression and less anxiety and less overall stress, and just to make your overall happiness, your overall state of happiness at a much higher level. Because many of us are living in this kind of low vibration and almost like this long-term depression that we are not even aware of, and we aren't even aware of how frigging incredible our lives can be and how amazing our bodies should feel like. So we are going to dive into so many different tips and ideas of how to live a better life and live your life up to your fullest potential and feel amazing. I hope you guys enjoy today's episode. If you want to talk to me about it afterwards, feel free to message me over Instagram or Facebook. You can also find Jimi Hunt on Instagram at the Jimi Hunt. That's TheJimiHunt. Hope you guys enjoy. Hi, Jimi. Welcome to the Elevate Your Soul podcast.
Thank you for having me.
First of all, can you tell us a bit about yourself and your story and why you became so passionate about mental health?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty simple in the fact that I had really poor mental health. I was depressed, suicidal, high anxiety, and you basically get to a point where you have two choices, and one is to either go away or stay. I chose to go away a couple of times, and it didn't happen. And then I chose, well, if I'm gonna stay here, then I better start getting better.
Yeah.
And so it was from then on that I was like, right, okay, well, I need to start doing more and more things to start getting better. And then once I started getting better, I thought, well, I better tell everyone I know about these things because it's a big problem. And so I guess, for want of a better word, I started teaching.
Okay. And you started teaching what exactly?
Mental health, basically, just how to be happier and healthier, and little things that I learned through self-discovery, and basically taking things from all sorts of places around the world, whether it's bits of psychology or bits of religion or bits of anything that made me slightly incrementally better. I went, boom, I'll take that, and then I'll share it with people.
Yeah. So you did a lot of research yourself and a lot of studying.
Yeah, everything to me is kind of research based, in that I'm always looking for that extra 1%.
Yes.
And so in order to find that 1%, you might have to try a bunch of different things, but you're definitely going to have to find a bunch of different things from anywhere you can get it, on the internet or friends or family or anything, books, movies, whatever. And so if I find something and I think, oh, that sounds or looks good, then I'll try it and see if it works. And then go from there and just discard anything that I think doesn't.
Yeah. And when you chose to stay, when you were in that dark place, did you have someone or public health care or anything like that to help you get out of that dark space?
Yeah, so I mean, like so many people, when I was in my darkest place, nobody else knew about it. Uh, I use the term like king of the mask. People with people with depression just so good at putting on a mask
Yeah.
and not allowing the rest of the world to know what's going on.
Yeah.
And so at the time, only two people really knew what state I was in. My wife at the time and my father. And so they were the two people encouraging me to go and get help.
Yeah.
I was doing the classic, nah, nah, I'm good, thanks.
Yeah.
Um, and so it was really my father who was basically begging me to go and get help. And so that was the time I went,
Yeah.
okay, okay, I will. And so, yeah, unsurprisingly, when you ask for help and then you go find it, you start getting better.
Yes.
Imagine that. It's mind-boggling.
Yeah.
And so I went through a few people that didn't help, but I ended up finding a guy that did, and he was kind of like my first maybe 10-15%.
Yes.
And I use I it's a bad term, but I outgrew him very
Yeah.
quickly.
Yeah.
But he was the person that just gave me that start.
And
That it's kind
was he a therapist or a counselor or?
Yeah, he is a registered psychiatrist
Yep.
and a registered sorry, not no no sorry. He is a qualified psychologist and a qualified um,
Psychiatrist.
psychiatrist,
Yeah.
but he doesn't register with either of them because he doesn't like where they're at with their treatment.
Right.
And so he simply registers as a counselor.
Interesting.
And he was quite, sort of different thinking than the standard psychologist and psychiatrist that I'd been through before.
In a good way.
And
In a good way that suited you.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, in a way that suited me. And I sort of talk about this a lot with people who are interested in, going and getting help, is that first of all, a lot of psychiatrists and psychologists are just fucking useless,
Exactly.
just straight not good at their jobs.
Yeah.
And what happens is people think, oh, that person's terrible, therefore they're all terrible.
Yeah.
And so they never go to anyone else. And I try and use the analogy of like, it's kind of like having a personal trainer.
Yeah.
If you go to the first personal trainer and they're like, do this, jump up and down, run around, da, 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 I would be like, whoa, chill out. Like, that's not the kind of help that I need.
Exactly.
If
Yeah.
I went to a different personal trainer and they're like, oh, you can do 10 push-ups if you want, you can, you should maybe try this, I wouldn't do that either.
Yeah.
I need something kind of in the middle.
Middle. Yeah.
Whereas some people need one, some people need that. So it's about finding someone that fits with you.
Exactly.
And so that's really important for somebody who's trying to get better, is that, and you got to be honest with yourself too, like
Yeah.
if you know you need a hard ass but
Yeah.
you run away from the hard ass, then you've got to know that and go, oh, I do need it and I've got to actually do what they say.
Yeah.
And so yeah, like it was this one guy that started me on it's momentum, right?
Yes.
And so because you weren't originally terrible, and so you slowly ended up in this dark place,
Yeah.
and you've got negative momentum. And so we don't just pick you up out of that deep dark place and put you up on this ledge. Like, it doesn't work like that. You can't teleport from like 1% to 80%. You've got to slowly work your way up again. So the first step is that slow momentum back the other way.
Yeah.
And that's what this guy gave me, is just that first couple of percentage points back the other way. And that was the start of a drive to see how high I could go.
Nice. And where do you see yourself now on that percentage scale? Do you see yourself as a happy person, like compared to most of society? Do you seem like a pretty well put together, bouncy, happy, positive guy, or?
Yeah, so the way I describe it, so basically we tend to in society think of mental illness as an on-off switch. You're
Yeah.
mentally ill, you're not mentally ill, you're depressed, you're not depressed.
Yeah.
And so if you're mentally ill, you've got to do all of these things. And if you're not mentally ill, you don't have to do anything. You just keep going with your life.
Yeah.
And it doesn't work like that. Mental health is a continuum, and it runs from 0 being dead to 100 being godlike enlightenment, and every single person is on that continuum somewhere.
Yes.
The dictionary definition of depression is an extended period of low mental health. So if we call depression under 20, right? If you stay under 20 for an extended period of time, you're depressed.
Yeah.
And so at my worst,
in that range, I do feel for a lot of people that can go up and down, like for people who are.
No, so that's exactly right. So you're somewhere on that continuum constantly.
Yeah.
And so, but if you spend an extended period of time under 20,
yeah, exactly,
then you get classified as depressed.
Yeah.
And so, at my worst, I would have been at a, let's say, 2, very, very close to being dead.
Yeah.
I would fluctuate between like 2 and 15 in my day-to-day existence.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like depressed.
So your highs were everyone else's lows.
Yeah, worse than everyone else's lows. And so life just sucked. And so, I met this counselor. He gave me a bunch of stuff to do, and so I started doing it. And let's just say he gave me 15 points. And so now I was fluctuating between like 15 and 30.
Yeah.
And then do a bit more, and I'm fluctuating between 20 and 30. And so here's the problem with that, is pretty much all change comes from discomfort.
Yes.
When we are uncomfortable, we change something. And if we're not uncomfortable, then we don't change anything.
Yeah.
Depression is uncomfortable. And so we want to change that. And so, but unfortunately what happens is that when you get up to, let's say, 25, 30, you're no longer uncomfortable. And so you don't continue to change anything.
Right.
And that was my case. And so I was just like everybody else. I got up to like 25 or 30, and it was like, holy, I'm fine. Everything's good. No one's bothering me anymore. I'm not depressed anymore. Right. And so it's that switch. Because I'm now not mentally ill, I'm fine. Everything's fine. Everything's good. Don't have to do anything.
So it's kind of like settling for this kind of lower sense of, like, I'm getting through life. I'm not going to die. I'm not suicidal anymore. I'm not hating my life as much as I used to, but I guess I can be content here.
Yeah, life is normal. I'm a normal person doing a normal life. Yeah. And so, unfortunately, normal people doing normal lives aren't all that happy.
Exactly, yeah.
And so, and that's just it. Like, so I'm living a life between 20 and 30.
Yeah.
And who wants to do that?
Exactly.
But I didn't understand this concept at the time. I just felt that I was now not depressed, and so this was just my life.
Yeah.
And 20 to 30, I was still functioning, and I was still doing some pretty good things. And this one calendar year happened to be kind of amazing for me. I built the world's biggest water slide. I wrote a best-selling book. I opened TEDx Auckland. I fronted a national ad campaign. I was finalist for New Zealand Innovator of the Year, and I was a finalist for New Zealander of the Year.
Yeah.
And what was the most amazing thing at the end of that year was I hated that year. I was really sad, and it
Yeah.
annoyed me. But I wasn't depressed.
Yeah.
I just, like, everything wasn't good enough. The book didn't sell enough copies. The TED Talk didn't get enough views. I didn't win New Zealander of the Year or New Zealand Innovator of the Year. The product I fronted sucked. And the water slide didn't raise enough money. So everything sucked.
Yeah.
And that was when I realized that there was still a massive problem. If I was achieving all of these things that I'd set my mind to, all of these things that I thought would make me super happy, if I was achieving all these things,
Yeah.
then why was I not happy?
Yeah.
Why did my life still suck and I hated everything?
Yeah.
And so it's when I realized that these external goals of happiness, these achieving these things would make me happy, and none of them did. If the answer wasn't out there,
Yeah.
then where else could it be? And the only place left to look was inside.
Yeah.
And so that's when I realized that if I actually want to move up that continuum, well, it's when I realized that there is a continuum, is that I'm not mentally ill, but I'm not well. And
Exactly.
so it was then that I realized I had to start moving up that continuum, and the answers were inside and not outside. And
Yeah.
so all of the work needed to start now.
Yeah.
All I really was at a base. I was at a base where I could now do the work. It was now time to actually do it.
Without anyone's sort of guidance, do you mean by that when you say do it yourself?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was like, right, like now I need to actually, yeah, like, so this is the whole thing, is that you know, nobody else can do the work for you.
No.
Your partner can't do it, your doctor can't do it, books, movies, your psychologist, your psychiatrist, none of them can do the work for you. They can give you some answers, some ideas,
Yeah.
but nobody can do the work in your head except for you.
Exactly.
And so, like, we all know we should be doing things, right?
Yeah.
We know we should be drinking more water.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do we do it? No.
Exactly.
We drink coffee and sugar and alcohol
Beer.
and
Yeah.
beer, like, and everything else. But
Yeah.
we know we should be drinking more water. And so that's the same with the work in your head.
Yeah.
Is that, we know we should be on our phone less. We know we should meditate. We know we should do all of these things.
Yeah.
But we don't do them.
But we don't do them. Yeah, exactly.
And so it's about, finding these things and then actually taking the knowledge and turning it into action, and then using the action to create actual, real, lasting change.
Exactly. My favorite quote, I'm going to say it again. I've already said it on one of these episodes, but knowledge is one thing and action is another thing entirely. And I feel like so many of us, the answers are already within us. When we're all like, oh no, I don't know what to do, I feel so lost. And it's really just like this fog of anxiety and fear and all these negative things that are getting in our way to see a clear perspective. But all the answers we already have inside of all of us. And it's our job to go deep within ourselves and find what we really need and what works for us so that we can live a better lifestyle. And too much of us like to overcomplicate things and overcomplicate happiness. And we're like, oh, but it's hard. And oh, but I need money for a therapist. And it's like, you're almost coming up with excuses and making things more complicated than they already are as an excuse to get better or to evolve and raise yourself to a higher state.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you want to get philosophical about it, you're right. Every single answer is inside of us.
Yeah.
And if the only problem is, as modern humans, we don't listen.
Yeah.
And simply because if you really want to listen, you got to sit quietly
Yeah.
with no distractions.
Yeah.
And that is something that modern humans are probably the most adverse to of anything.
Yeah.
And so you're never going to find those real internal answers without sitting quietly.
Yes. And some of us even know, we may not know the big answer that we're looking for, but we know already what we can do now. And then once you make that first step, the second step will unfold. And once you do the second step, the third step will unfold. And so like a lot of us know that, hey, I may not know what the big answer is that I'm looking for, but I know right now that I could be doing this, X, Y, and Z to help me get there. But then again, it comes to actually doing the work and doing what you know is best for you and what is going to get you there.
Yeah, I mean, that's the old quote. Depression is looking in the past. Anxiety is looking in the future. The only thing that is real is right now, present. And the problem, again, with most modern day humans is that we're trying to think our way forward at all times. And we've forgotten how to feel our way forward.
Yeah.
And so, and I mean, like the number one thing you should learn with meditation is that you are the observer of your thoughts. And so you are not your thoughts.
Yeah.
And when you realize you're not your thoughts and you can sort of discount a lot of the bullshit in your brain, you can start to learn to feel your way forward. And so, what's right for this moment right now? And then, okay, now there's another moment. What's right for this moment right now?
Yeah.
And you move forward in that way instead of the overcomplicated, anxious brain. Rah, 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 rah.
Yes. Which I'm guilty of as well. Sometimes, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. And
you can learn to be less of that.
Exactly.
That's the whole point.
Exactly. The point isn't that I'm never ever going to have anxiety again, or I'm never ever going to get in a negative mindset. The point is that when I have those negative thoughts, is the way I go about them. Do I think I am those negative thoughts, or can I analyze them and say, wow, that was a negative thought. I'm not going to believe that thought or choose to go, get emotional about this because this is a negative thought. And I realize that, and I can choose to think in a positive way and have a positive thought about this experience.
Correct. And that's the whole thing, is that what we're looking for, unfortunately, is magic pills.
Yeah.
And so I'm in the state. What can completely change me into another state so I never have to have that state again?
Yeah.
And yet our society is prevalent in this regard, which we've been sold to through advertising and social conditioning over a long period of time.
Yeah.
But what we have to understand is that our brain is a muscle just like any other muscle. And if you look into the entire practice of neuroplasticity and how our brain works, you understand that you have to start treating your muscle just like any other muscle. So you don't go into a gym and start bench pressing, hundreds of kilograms on day one.
Yeah.
My skinny little biceps can't handle that.
Yeah.
And so on day one, you go in and you bench press the bar.
Yeah.
And you do that for a month. And then you add small weights and you get bigger. And then at the end, you're bench pressing a couple of 100 kilograms.
Yes.
That's the way it works. And that's exactly the same way that your brain works. Yeah. And so if you would like to not get angry when a situation arises, there's no pill, there's no magic quote, there's no 60-minute psychiatrist session that can teach that to you.
Yeah.
It is practice.
Yeah.
It is practice at the smallest level of, when something tiny happens, don't get angry at that. When something slightly bigger happens, don't get angry at that. And then eventually, over the course of years, when your car gets stolen, you're like, oh well, that was unfortunate. Well, let's go sort that out.
Yeah, exactly.
Because there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah, totally.
It's one of the biggest things. If your car gets stolen, then it's stolen. It's happened.
Yeah.
If something has happened, there is nothing you can do to change it. The only thing that you can affect is your decision in that moment. And you always have two decisions to make. You either choose love or you choose fear.
Yes.
And they sum up the two big ends of the spectrum. You choose fear, that's anger, that's resentment, that's frustration, that's all of these things.
Yeah.
Or you can choose love, which is, a kindness, a calmness, and empathy. And you're like, what one would you rather choose?
Exactly.
But unfortunately, as humans, we're negatively geared.
Yeah.
We have fight or flight mechanism built in real hardcore. And so if something happens, we're like, oh, and so we have to train that out of us, and we can do it. You just got to put in the work.
Yeah. Coming back to something you said earlier, how the answers a lot of times, well, with all of us, they are in us, deep within us, the answers that we need to know. And sometimes it is about finding that stillness and learning to have that relationship with ourselves to find those answers. And for those of us who kind of already know the answers and know what we should be doing, but we're not doing it, like drinking more water or like getting enough sleep by the end of the week, why do you think people aren't doing what they know they should be doing? What is getting in the
Because
way?
they're not uncomfortable enough.
Right.
And so, okay, I'll give you an example recently. So I don't drink.
No.
I don't do drugs. I don't smoke. But I am an absolute sugar fiend. And since I was a child, I have eaten so much sugar.
Yeah.
A couple of 4 months ago, I decided that I was going to do 30 days without sugar.
Yeah.
And to me, that's not crazy, anal, not even a trace amount of sugar. It's like stop eating all the candy, all the ice cream, all the biscuits, all of the things. If there's some sugar in a sauce on a meal I have at a restaurant, I don't care.
Yeah, exactly.
But stop that big behavior. So I started doing that. And so always been like a reasonably skinny dude. I got a little bit of a belly. And so I stopped eating sugar for 30 days.
Yeah.
And I lost 8 kilograms.
Wow.
But here's the thing, is that I don't care.
Right.
Like now I'm just skinnier than I was before.
Yeah.
And so that's not a motivating factor for me.
Yeah.
It might be for someone else.
It might be for some women, but
yeah. Like if someone like, you lose 10, 20, whatever kilograms, like that's fine. And if that's your motivating factor, that is awesome, because that's what you're looking for. But
and
for me,
what was your motivating factor? Like what was?
So so after 30, it was about 4 weeks in, I flew home to New Zealand and I had 8 talks in 11 days at companies around the country.
Wow.
And after those talks, I was staying at my friend's house in Auckland, and I was talking to her fiance about the universe, how everything works, life, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And my friend is a very intuitive woman. And the next morning she came into my room and she said, Jimmy, last night when you were talking to Matt, that is the cleanest and the clearest I've ever seen you speak.
Yeah.
And this is a woman that's known me for a long time.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, like the last week at all these talks, I felt like I've really connected with the audience. I've had more response. I've made more people cry. I've made more people send me emails. I've made more people make changes.
Right.
I just feel like I'm I'm in the zone. And she's like, yeah, you know why that is, eh? And I was like, no. She said, it's because you're off sugar. And I was like, oh. it is. And then I looked at her and I almost started crying.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I can now never go back to having sugar.
Oh no.
I've lost one of my best friends
Yeah.
my entire life, but now I won't trade that
Yeah.
for the mental clarity and connection
Yeah.
that I gained by not having it.
Yeah.
And so the result far outweighs the effort that I have to do to continue to not take sugar.
Completely. And as you said before, that's with anything, I think, if it's, whether it's alcohol or smoking or a drug or anything, it's once you clear that out of your system. I think people don't even realize the effect that alcohol has on their body, even if they're only drinking every weekend. A lot of Kiwis binge drink, and they don't just have a glass of wine with a meal, they're binge drinking every single weekend, or they're having those couple of glasses of wines 3 evenings a week during the week, and they don't realize that the effect it's actually having on them until they fully stop it, and then stop it for long enough so that they can realize the benefits of not having it.
And so that's the whole point of the experimenting for those extra percentage points.
Yeah.
So whilst you think that maybe drinking 3 times a week doesn't affect your percentage points,
yeah,
like if you're looking for those extra points,
yeah,
which hopefully you should be,
yeah,
like let's say you're at 50,
yeah,
do a month of no drinking,
yeah,
and then really look and go, did that move me to 60?
yeah,
And then if it's moved you to 60 at the end, you're like, do I want to trade those 10 points of clarity, of connection, of being able to play with my kids better, of making more money at work because I'm less hungover? Do I want to trade those 10 points for those drinks again?
yeah, exactly.
And hopefully the answer is no.
Yeah.
But you've got to, like, and this is the thing, is that it's the discomfort part only comes at that real bottom end.
Exactly.
When you're under 20,
yeah,
that's the discomfort. When
yeah,
you're at 40, there's little bits of discomfort, but not enough to cause change. So
yeah.
you actually have to take control of that yourself and create your own change.
Yeah, you're totally right. I love that analogy you have, because so many people are living between 30 and 60 in our society, or 30 and 70, and they're, I guess you can say, content. And it's almost like they don't know that they could have that higher quality of life more often, like on a long-term basis. It's almost like they don't even
They just think they're not mentally ill.
Yeah. They're not uncomfortable enough.
Yeah.
Another reason why, another approach that I have to also not feeling comfortable and uncomfortable enough, as you say, would also be, I think it also ties into self-worth. So also, what is stopping you from doing what you know you should be doing to better your health or your lifestyle or your mental health? I think comes down to self-worth as well. If we have a lot of self-worth and we know we are worthy of living a good quality life and being healthy and having amazing, fantastic relationships with absolutely no drama and no fighting, once we know we are worthy of all those things, then I think it's easier for us to do the work to get there. But when we have feelings of unworthiness and like, oh, well, I'm just going to settle for my life at a 50% because I don't think I'm really worthy, and I can't even imagine myself of living this abundant, beautiful lifestyle, then that also ties into why we know what we're doing isn't the best for us, and we know what we should be doing to make a better change, but we're not doing it.
Yeah, so self-worth is a sliding scale on the same continuum that goes in the opposite direction.
Yeah.
Is that when it goes in the same direction, I'm sorry. When you're down at 2, you have a self-worth of 2.
Yeah.
If you're up at 90, you have a self-worth of 90.
90.
And
Oh,
so what's quite cool is that every percentage point you get of mental health,
yeah.
you get a percentage point of self-worth.
I love that.
And they're usually very, very, very closely linked.
Yeah.
And so the more you do the work, the more you realize that you deserve to do the work and get the results from it.
Yeah, exactly. They work hand in hand.
So you can't just hand someone 6-pack abs.
Yeah.
They don't deserve those, and they haven't done the work for them.
Yeah.
So you just can't hand someone happiness.
And sadly, you can't hand someone self-worth either.
No. Yeah. So that's exactly it. The self-worth is a muscle, just like everything else.
Yeah.
And this is why I consistently use physical fitness metaphors against mental fitness.
Right.
Because they're the same thing. They're just two different sides of it.
Yeah.
And we have to start understanding that everything in our brain works just like our body. So like perspective is something that I talk about massively.
Yeah.
And yet perspective isn't something you can hand somebody.
Right.
It's something you have to train. And the more you train perspective, the better everything works out. I'll give you a simple example. My first wife left me. Found out she'd been cheating on the guy. Then she got pregnant to him, and all within the span of like a couple of weeks. And basically, that was the worst time of my entire life. Yeah. And I was probably at under 10 points at that time, and that just pushed me down to a 2.
Yeah.
And so this is the worst thing ever. Now, if somebody right now asked me what the best thing that ever happened to me in my entire life was, I would say my wife cheating on me, getting pregnant with the guy. Right. Best thing that ever happened to me in my entire life.
Right.
It made me exactly who I am, put me exactly where I needed to be, and set me off in an amazing direction. 4 months later, ridiculous. 4 months later, I met a woman 1,000 times better than my ex-wife, who I've now been married to for 7 years or something now.
Wow.
Like best thing that ever happened to me, and yet in that moment I wanted to kill myself.
Yeah.
And because I didn't have the perspective. Now, if my current wife left me today, I would be sad. It would hurt. In Buddhism they say pain is inevitable, suffering is optional. And so the pain of her leaving me is inevitable. I would hurt, I would cry, that would be. But within maybe 24, 48 hours, who knows? Yeah. I would have perspective on that and understand that her leaving me is going to send me in the right direction. It's going to get me to at the right place I need to be. And who knows, I might meet someone 1,000 times better for me than she was. Yeah. That's perspective. But
everything's
I've trained that. I've trained that in the last 7 years. Not just that one incident, but every incident. Yeah. In between, it's like, how can I apply perspective to this? Right. My favorite quote in the entire world is by a guy called John Maxwell, and he says, you cannot overestimate the unimportance of practically everything. Right. You cannot overestimate the unimportance of practically everything. So practically everything is unimportant. The rugby score, the car you drive, your current partner, the job you have, all in the grand scheme of things, right, unimportant. Right. And so you ask the question then, well, what is important? Yes. Well, quite simply, the most important thing, the only real important thing is you. You, the individual, are the most important. Right. And Like, you're more important than the car you drive. You're more important than the game score. You're more important than your current husband and wife.
Yeah.
I've proven that. And you're more important than your children.
Yes.
And I said that to 400 preschool mums.
Yes.
And you should have seen the faces I got from these people. Like, and I got my first on-stage heckle. And this woman said, like, she's like, no, like, no, I'm not. My kids are the most important. That's selfish.
Yeah.
And I said to her, no, like, the dictionary definition of selfish is to put yourself first to the detriment of others.
Yeah.
And I'm not asking you to do that. I'm asking you to put yourself first for the benefit of others.
Yeah.
Every point you move up that scale benefits everyone around you. If you can move yourself from 10 to 70, guess what, lady? You're going to be a better parent.
Exactly.
If you move yourself up that scale, you become better at your job. You become more effective, more efficient. You come up with better ideas. You work better in a team.
Yeah.
You make more money. You get more promotions. You make more sales.
You have more
You
love
become a
in
better
the relationship.
friend. Yeah, you become a better friend. You become a better lover. You become a better husband, better wife.
Yeah.
All as a result of moving yourself up that continuum.
Yeah.
So therefore, you 100%, the individual, are the most important. You're more important than anything. And if you do that work, everybody benefits.
Yes. Yes. And it's up to you to do the work and figure out what you need to do to get yourself higher in that higher state.
Yeah, absolutely. And listen, like, and just to clarify that, absolutely, it is only you, up to you. You have to do all the work. No excuses. Just fucking do it.
Yep.
But you can ask for help in doing that work. You can call me up and I will help you. You can go see a psychiatrist. You can go read books. You can go do all of those things. But then it comes back to exactly what I said earlier on. You need to take that knowledge, turn it into action, use that action to turn it into change.
Yeah.
Ask for help. People will help you.
Yeah.
But you have to do the work yourself.
You have to do the work. Yeah, because it does get exhausting when you're someone who naturally likes to help others and be there for other people, and you're giving them the best advice that you can give them and they're not taking it, and it's like a long-term thing and it goes on and on and on. Some people who would have been there for you might not be there for you, or they might get a little bit sick or a bit tired about constantly being there for you and giving you advice and then you not taking it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And this is the thing, because those people, they are also the most important. And if them cutting off their contact with you is the best thing for them in that moment, then that's what they have to do.
Yeah.
Because they are the most important.
Yeah. Yeah. A question I have for you as well. Do you think the media affects our mental health? And if so, what can we do to protect ourselves and our kids from those negative impacts that social media has, or the media?
Yeah, well, I mean, you've got both. You've got media and social media. And so basically, a report came out a year or so ago. World Health Organization says that by the year 2025, 80% of the people on this planet will suffer from a mental health condition in their lifetime.
Yeah.
80.
80. Yeah. Wow.
As a society, we're fucked.
Yeah.
Everything, the way that we're sold to, the way that we live our lives, everything is detrimental to our mental health.
Yeah, totally.
And if we just roll along, dumpty-da, normal humans, we're in trouble.
Yeah.
We're in a lot of trouble mentally.
Yeah.
Now, I use that stat, but I also say, if I said to you, 80% of people will be obese in their lifetime,
Mm-hmm.
You could sit there and you could go, oh, well, I won't be, because I'll be one of the 20%.
Yeah.
Because I know how to eat right. I
Yes.
know how I can go get a personal trainer. I know how to exercise myself.
Yeah.
And so I'm never going to become one of that percentage.
Yeah.
The same is true with mental health. If
Right.
you don't want to be part of that 80%, you don't have to be.
Right.
That 80% is a statistic just because they know that everyone's not going to do anything.
Right.
If you want to be part of the 20%, you just have to learn those skills to not be. And
Yeah.
how do you find those skills? Google them.
Yeah.
Ask for them.
Yeah.
Research them. Not hard. Just the same as like if I wanted to not be obese, I'd go on YouTube and I'd Google it.
Exactly.
You know,
Exactly.
and then I'd watch some stuff and I'd do it.
Yeah.
Same thing for your mental health. So with the media, I mean, I can sum up social media and media just real simple.
Yeah.
Is that
Yeah.
yeah, it's not good for you.
Yeah.
Like media, like just straight don't consume it. You don't have to read the paper. You don't have to watch the news. It doesn't. None of it really matters.
And the advertisements either, all these kids on their
Yeah,
iPads on YouTube, ads are popping up
yeah.
everywhere.
Well,
Yeah.
first of all, get ad block plus or you block Origin, and you'll never see another ad ever again in your entire life. And if you're going around the internet without one of those two things, it blows my mind. But
Yeah.
you'll never see another ad. So get those to start with. But social media again is not, well, it's mildly inherently evil.
Yeah.
They design it to suck you in and design it that way. But if you are completely conscious about how you use it, what you use it for,
Yeah.
then it can be used as a tool for good. Like,
It's
I
a
basically.
tool. Sorry, yeah. It's a tool like anything else, and with so many things in our life, you can do things that are going to not be good for your health or be good for your health, and that's with anything. That's with food or exercise or sex. All of those things, we can use them in a healthy way or not a healthy way.
Yeah, so basically I only really use Instagram, and I really like Instagram.
Yeah.
I like images, and then I like writing about those images.
Yeah.
And so like my Instagram only talks about mental health.
Yeah.
But not in a, hey, mental health kind of way. It only talks about ways that I'm trying to get another percentage point.
Yes.
And so everyone that follows me is only consuming good, make yourself better posts.
Yeah.
So that's fantastic.
Yeah.
I only follow about 500 people.
Yeah.
Those people make my life better in some way.
Yeah.
And so the social media I consume is not detrimental to my mental health.
Yep.
And in a lot of ways is beneficial for my mental health.
I'm the exact same with my Instagram. I follow, I think, 200 or 250 people. And and I only follow people whose posts are informative and educational and really inspiring in the topics and the areas that I'm interested in my life right now.
Yeah. And this is where it comes down to, the very trendy and topical word of consciousness.
Yeah.
Right? So if you are being conscious, which is like just simply another word for being aware.
Yeah.
If you are being aware of what you're consuming, then you are far less likely to have anything detrimental in your feed.
Right.
If you are aware of what you're consuming, then you're far less likely to have anything affect you physically or mentally.
Yeah.
If you are aware of who you're hanging out with, the types of people you're surrounding yourself with, then you are far more likely to have people lifting you up, supporting you, helping you, teaching you stuff, than you are having people drag you into bad situations.
Yes.
And so it is simply being aware of everything in your life that allows you to make better decisions, of which subsequently give you percentage points on the mental health continuum.
Great. I love that. And do you think nutrition and diet plays a big part in that as well?
Well, 100%. We know this now.
Yeah, exactly.
In terms of depression, I mean, the science around depression was bad from the 60s, 70s, 80s. That's all been debunked,
Yeah,
and all of the new science is showing that a lot of the uh, physical components of depression, the
yeah,
chemical parts of it, which have been
yeah,
far overstated,
yeah,
they are all either caused or created in the gut.
yeah,
And the gut they refer to as your second brain. Like serotonin, for example, which is what all of the antidepressant medication uses, and has been shown to not be that big a cause anyway, but
yeah,
is that that all gets made in your gut, converted in your liver, and then sent to your brain. That's where
mhm,
your serotonin gets made from.
yeah,
And so we have massive problems with gut health in our modern human diet. And to sum that up real quickly, is that basically sugar and refined carbohydrates.
yeah, and bad
If you
fats.
remove, yeah, and bad fats.
Yeah,
Yeah, if you remove sugar and refined carbohydrates
yeah,
from your diet, not even remove, like I'm not anal about this stuff, like
yeah,
just cut down,
yeah,
just cut down.
yeah, exactly.
You watch your mental health percentage points move up,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
then see if you want to change those out,
exactly.
because
Yeah.
you won't. But I mean, if yeah, and this is it. If you're just gonna do anything for your baseline mental health,
Yeah,
try removing sugars and refined carbohydrates
right.
from
Perfect.
your diet.
Perfect. Because, yeah, my next question, what are 3 things people can do today or this week to bring themselves in a healthier mind space? So, for anyone who's listening who wants to get in a healthy mind space as quickly as possible, what are 3 affordable, doable things that they can do for their mind space? You said nutrition and cutting out sugar is one of them.
Number one,
Yeah.
don't try to do all three things this week.
Right.
The
Okay.
number one, like when we're talking about habits and creating change,
Yeah.
the main problem with change is that people try to do too much too soon.
Yeah.
And so I learned this. I have a completely free program on my website, jimmyhunt.com, called the Basic Reset. And when I first did this Basic Reset, it was these 5 things that you need to do, and you do them over 60 days,
Okay.
and that will change your mental health and get you to a real basic place where you can then make bigger changes from then on.
Yeah.
The failure rate on that was catastrophic,
Yeah.
terrible. And it was 5 really simple, really easy things to
Right.
do.
Right.
And you just had to do it for 60 days, and everybody was failing. And I
Wow.
was like, oh shit, like this is terrible.
Yeah.
And then so I went and read up a bunch on change and habits and everything like that.
Yeah.
And I've redone the program. And
Right.
so instead of 60 days, it's now 100 days.
Okay.
But it is the most gradual process that you can do. Remember, I talked earlier about how all of these people are sliding down the scale,
Yeah.
and then you can't just pick them up and put them on
On a
up
high leg.
further.
Yeah.
You've got to slow it.
Yeah.
Then you've got to stop it. Then
Right.
you've got to slowly move it back in the other direction. And
Right.
so my 100-day program starts with day 1. All you have to do today is drink 2 liters of water. That's it.
Love it.
Nothing else.
Mm-hmm.
And for the first week, all you have to do is drink 2 liters of water today. So
Right.
if you're suicidal, you can't even get out of bed, you can't do anything,
Yeah.
the only thing you have to do is sit in bed, watch Netflix, and drink 2 liters of water. That's
Right.
it.
Right.
Um, I am going to get you out of bed because you're going to end up wanting to piss a bunch. So you're going to have to go to the toilet.
Exactly.
So for the first thing, 2 liters of water. Now, 2 liters of water real quick. Cortisol, your stress hormone, builds up in your body. We all have it, mainly from our jobs, sitting too long, blah, blah, blah. Two main ways you get rid of cortisol: crying it out or peeing it out. So it's now your choice. Do you want to cry it out or pee it out?
Right.
If you want to pee it out, drink 2 liters of water a day.
Yeah.
Bonus side fact, your skin will be really, really nice.
Yeah.
And then step number 2 is getting people walking for 30 minutes a day.
Yeah.
If it's your lunchtime, go for a 15-minute walk out, eat your sandwich while you're walking, walk back again. If you live in a first world country, you will spend over 91% of your life indoors.
Wow.
We eat inside, drink inside, work inside, drive inside, everything's inside.
Yeah.
Vitamin D is a massive component in your mental health, and we do not get enough of it.
Yeah.
So getting outside for 30 minutes a day, plus, a gentle exercise, best way to lose weight, best way to do a lot of things.
Yeah.
Then a couple of weeks later, a thing called the 5 Senses program. It is a very simple positive psychology process where 5 times a day you check in with your 5 senses. Real simple. So if you drink something, you just take 2 seconds, go, oh, this tastes lovely, or it tastes horrible, whatever.
Right.
You smell something, this smells wonderful, this smells horrible, whatever. It is a positive psychology process rooted in neuroplasticity to retrain your brain away from flight or fight and into creating positive neural pathways. Real simple. And it's transformative. And then the 4th thing later on that I start teaching, and I teach very slowly in this as well, is meditation. The number one thing you can possibly do for your mental health is to learn to meditate, learn to sit quietly, learn to understand your thoughts.
Okay.
And it's the number one thing people are averse to. Now, I can tell you that over the last 15 years, the science around meditation is unbelievable. It shows you can regrow gray matter in your brain. You can retrain neural pathways. I can show all of your listeners that science, and they won't fucking do it. I can tell them that Tim Ferriss, who they're probably aware of, Tim Ferriss, his latest book, Tools of Titans, where he interviews like 70 of the most successful and rich people on the planet. He said the number one thing that he took out of writing that book was that over 90% of the people he interviewed had a daily meditation practice.
Wow. Wow.
I can tell that to your listeners, and they will go, okay, great, still won't learn
Okay,
to
great,
meditate.
that worked for them, but
Yep, they still won't do it. So I'll tell you the minimum effective dose, the lowest common denominator. Berkeley in San Francisco did a study that they went into the lowest decile school district in San Francisco, and they said, we've got a program for you. It's called Quiet Time. And very simply, the teachers had to get their students at the start of class and at the end of class to sit there for 60 seconds and close their eyes. That's it. That's the only instruction they were given. Sit there, close your eyes, nothing else.
Yeah.
After the 6-month study, they ended up doing all the results, and they were like this: shootings down, stabbings down, bullying down, truancy down, test scores up, and all considerably. These kids who are impoverished, poorly educated, in the worst school district in San Francisco, did something that they didn't even know what they were doing.
Yeah.
And they had these results. So imagine what your listeners, who are bright, educated, people, do with even that minimum effective dose.
Yeah. So
And if
powerful.
you can't start meditating because of that, then I don't know what else.
Right. And you need to start small, as you said, these small steps, like try it for 30 seconds, try it for 60 seconds. A week later, try
Yep.
90 seconds. It's start small
Yep.
doses. Don't force yourself to sit down cross-legged and stare at a wall for an hour. That's not going to
Yep.
help.
Doesn't work.
Meditate.
Does not work.
Yeah.
So what I teach first up for meditation is what's called music meditation.
Yeah.
And so again, starting small, the very first thing that I get you to do is listen to a song.
Yes.
One instrumental song of your choice. You just have to sit there, and every time a thought comes into your brain, you return back to the music and
Yeah.
listen to the guitar or the bass line or the violin or the piano,
Right.
whatever.
Right.
Every time a thought comes in, you return back to that piece of the music.
Yeah.
That's it. Listen to one song. And even that is, I mean, that is a start. That is how you start. And then we build from there, learning the practice of meditation in a very easy way before getting to, anything even remotely serious without music.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I do think as well, like having some kind of background noise, even if you just put on YouTube, like birds chirping or the ocean waves, something super just natural, like a sound in nature that you'd hear. Play that in the background.
Yeah, and that's just it. I mean, in the, like guided meditations, I do not believe give you what you need, because you are constantly concentrating on someone else's voice,
Yeah.
trying to find calm.
Yeah.
Whereas unguided meditations give you that space to be able to. And this is the other thing, is like people think meditation's about thinking about nothing.
Yeah.
It's not. You'll
Yeah.
never think about nothing. It's
Yeah.
about observing your thoughts and letting thoughts come to you. Like you
Yes.
want answers, like your answers will come to you during meditation. If you're listening to music or you are God, you can't hear those answers because they're always. And so we want to get to a point where we're doing unguided, quiet meditations that allow us to find clarity and to find answers in our everyday problems.
Exactly. It's about connecting with yourself and your higher self and just connecting with everything, the universe, and letting, whatever come through, whether it's a thought or an idea, let that come through. And then by having that better connection with ourselves, we feel better connected with the earth and we feel more grounded. And then we also have better connections with the people in our lives.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. All right.
So those are my 4 things, not 3.
Okay, beautiful. I love them. They were very helpful. What else? Just quickly want to touch on public health. Do you find that in New Zealand our public health care provides the necessary support for people who are...
No, public health system failed, and you cannot rely on them to make you better.
Right.
It is completely up to you. Completely up to you.
Yeah.
And I mean, I understand that, so this is the thing. We talk about like mental illness. And when we talk about mental illness, there is a very, very sharp end of the stick where it's about, I think, 2 or 3% of mental illness is that very, very serious, you need to be in a psychiatric hospital getting all the help you can possibly get situation.
Yeah.
Genetic, psychotic mental illness.
Yeah.
The other 97% of mental illness is made up of what they call lifestyle-based mental illness.
Yeah.
That is your depression and anxiety and, stuff around that.
Yeah.
Those things are all technically situational. Either something happened to you or the way you've lived your life has led you to a downturn to this place.
Yeah.
the government is not going to fix that for you.
Yeah.
Like they could, they could put you on a tropical island for 6 weeks, and then when you come back off that tropical island, you're still in that same situation.
Yes. Yeah.
And so this sounds real fucking harsh, but like it is up to you to improve your own mental health.
Yeah.
Like again, ask for help. If
Yeah.
you can't afford, if you can't afford a proper therapist, then like there are free PDFs you can get. There are free courses you can do.
Yeah.
Like you can call me. Like people will help you. Don't use money as an excuse.
Yes.
But the actual mental health system everywhere, like you can't rely on it. Like if you get help from it, I'm so happy to hear that.
Yeah.
But it is not your answer to getting better.
Right. So if someone's listening to this right now and they're in a really, really dark space and they want to get better and they feel like they don't have any close friends who'd help them, or their parents live really far away or in another country, what would you recommend their first step could be to get better?
Well, I mean, since we're talking to me, I'll talk just about me. Number one, go on my website and sign up to the Basic Reset program. It's a great way to start with. It's completely free. There's nothing in it that costs you money. Like that's a good start. I have a mental health charity called Live More Awesome. There is a Live More Awesome community group on Facebook that is filled with thousands of people who are in the same place or were in the same place as you, and they have wonderful peer-to-peer advice and support. You choose your family. That is just number one rule on the planet. Just because you were born to them does not mean they have to be your family. You choose your family.
Yes.
Be very, very careful and very, very selective about who you choose to be, and go shopping for a new family, because there's some wonderful people out there, and that's a particular group that you can do it. And then like the internet is a wonderful, wonderful place, and so I have a free program, I have a community, but there are other people with free programs, there are other people with communities, and you think that your problem is yours and you think that you are unique, and I hate to tell this to you, you're fucking not. I thought that I was the only person in the world with depression when I had it. And that's just the way you end up thinking. And you are not your thoughts. There are millions of people that have got better before you, millions of people that will get better after you. So just come join the gang, and we'll all get better together.
Yes. I love that. I love that. So good. And it's also quite important. I feel like a lot of people, when they get stuck in this loop of thinking negative thoughts and sinking in depression, is they get attached to their story. So a lot of times people say, well, I'm depressed because when I was a child, this traumatic thing happened to me and my parents were like this, and then this terrible thing happened. So I am just that depressed, isolated person, and I'm always going to be that way because of what happened to me.
Yeah, absolutely. There is a quote from a girl called Ebony Davis, and it goes like this: "It just occurred to me that many people are actually afraid to heal because their entire identity is centered around the trauma that they've experienced."
Yes.
They have no idea who they are outside of trauma, and that unknown can be terrifying.
Totally.
People identify so deeply with their trauma that they take it personally when you tell them that healing is available, as if you're attempting to diminish their experience. When you tell them that healing requires taking accountability, they accuse you of victim blaming, and it's all fear. Now, this is the most powerful thing, and I'll tell you where I got it from. A fucking Instagram quote. You ready?
Yeah.
It is this: Your trauma is probably not your fault, but your healing is 100% your responsibility.
Yeah.
So
I've
much
heard
so that
that.
I
Love it.
will repeat it. I will repeat it again. Your
Yes.
trauma is probably not your fault. Stuff has probably happened to you. Life happens, shit happens, probably not your fault.
Yeah.
But your healing is 100% your responsibility and nobody else's.
Yeah.
You are not even remotely likely to get an apology from somebody that caused you trauma, let
Yeah.
alone have them fix your trauma.
Yeah.
Your healing is 100% your responsibility and nobody else's. And that is harsh,
Yeah.
but it is nothing but the truth.
Yeah. And you need to take that ownership. You need to take that responsibility back, because you can't feel helpless when you're depressed, because the more helpless you feel and isolated you feel, then you're keeping yourself stuck in this depressive state. But when you know that, yeah, it might be hard to hear that it's your responsibility to get better, but that can also be a positive thing, because it is up to you to get better, and you do have the strength, and you do have the willpower and all of that. There is support out there for you. You can get better, and it is your responsibility. And that can be seen as a really good thing as well, because no one can get in the way of your healing. It's up.
Absolutely. Everything is a choice. Every single thing at every time is a choice. Now, a lot of stuff may happen to you, and that's out of your control. That's just the universe serving it up to you.
Yes.
But everything after that, everything in your response is a choice. And as I said earlier, it's either love or fear and whatever in between. Like, I can trigger you by saying that it's your responsibility and you've got a victim mentality, and it's your choice to either listen to that and make changes, or to turn this podcast off and go, fuck that guy. It is it is your choice whether you sit there and watch that TV, or you Google how to get better and reach out to someone. It is every single little thing is your choice.
Yes.
Make the choice to pick up a glass of water today and drink it.
Instead
Make the
of a beer.
choice to go and have a shower and put on some nice clothes. Make a choice to make today 0.1% better than yesterday.
Yep.
And then make the same choice the next day. If you can make your day 0.1% better every day, very, very soon, you will be flying high.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it. I love it. And every day, right? Every day, just that little bit, those little changes goes a long way.
Yeah. And this is the other thing that people need to understand with my physical health versus mental health, or physical fitness versus mental fitness analogies, is that when you are a sports person, let's say you're an Olympic swimmer and you win a gold medal, right? You are the peak physical fitness that you could possibly be. Those guys are insane.
Yeah.
And so you win that gold medal, and now your physical fitness is good forever, right?
Right. Right.
Now, of course it's not.
Training, keep working.
Retired swimmers are the fattest people around. They blow out.
Yeah.
And then, Buddhist monks, they train and meditate every day until they're 30. And then they're qualified and they never have to meditate again, right?
Right.
Of course not. Of course they don't.
Right.
Once, they'll meditate for every day for the rest of their lives, because you don't just get to a point. It's kind of like a travelator. If you stand on it, you go backwards.
Yeah.
You have to walk at an average pace just to stay in the same place.
Yeah.
And you have to run if you want to move forward.
Yeah. Oh, it's with anything in life. You can't water a plant for a year and then say, oh, for the next 5 years, it's fine. It'll water itself. Or a relationship. I put in all the work in the first 2 years, so now she's going to stay with me forever.
Yep. And so why do we think our mental health works like that?
Exactly. Don't just put in the effort to move that percentage higher, your overall general state higher. You want to maintain that once you get there. And realistically, you will go up and down. Realistically, you might be a 40 right now, and in 2 years' time, you'll make it up to 65 or 70. And then the following year, you might go back down to 60, but then the year after, you might shoot up to 90.
The way that I see this continuum is that the higher you go,
Yep.
the less volatile the swings are.
Right, right.
But so let's just say you're at 40.
Yeah.
And you drop down to 10.
Yep.
And then you're like between 10 and 40, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, how do you get back up to 50 or 60?
Yeah.
When you haven't learned anything. But if you're at 10 and you decide to do the work, right? And you decide to learn and you do all this, so you go 10, 20, 30, 40.
Yeah.
I say when you get over 60,
yeah,
then you have done so much work to get from 10 to 60 or 20 to 60 or 40 to 60, whatever. You've done so much work that when something bad happens to you, you drop to, let's say, 50 or 40.
Right.
But because you've already done that work,
you'll never go back to 10.
You'll never go back to 10, but it's also very easy for you to put things in place to move yourself back from 40 to 60.
Right, because you've done the work before.
Because you know what you're doing. And if you can move yourself from 60 to 80, once you're at 80, and you asked me early on, I didn't answer. I'd say that I'm at 80.
Right.
And like my lifetime goal is to get to 90.
Right.
But if my wife left me, if my business went under, if all of these things, anything, what we term as catastrophic in most circles happens to me, I reckon the worst I'd drop to would be 50.
Okay.
Because I've done so much work that I understand perspective.
Yeah.
I understand all of mental health in terms of that. Like I said, it doesn't mean I wouldn't feel pain.
Yeah.
It just means that I wouldn't get knocked so far down, and because I've done the work, I'd know how to get myself back up real easy.
Right. But there can be that swing is what I'm saying. It's not that you'll go, 20 to 10 and then 30 to 10 and then 50 to 10 and 60 to 10. It's kind of like you just don't go 10 to 80. What?
And 80, you just don't go 10 to 80 and 80 to 10. The swings, the more you do the work, the less of a swing you will have.
Right. 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 And the lower, obviously you won't fall as low. Like the higher you go, then I understand.
And the lower you are, the more volatile you are, basically.
Right. Right. Perfect. I think that's a wrap.
Excellent.
Thank you so much for coming online and talking with me. That was so much fun.
No worries. Happy to.
All right. Great. Thank you. Have a good day.
You too.
Bye.